One of the coolest things about Solasta is the character creation schema they've got here. So I want to run you through it. So what you do is you would create a new adventurer, and you get to choose all these different races. As you can see, there's dwarf, half-elf, human, sylvan elves, high elves, and marsh halflings, and I think it's hill halflings. But the really cool thing about this is you actually get to choose pretty deep racial classes and different subclasses, which is really cool. Then you go into your class, and there's all sorts of different classes here. And as you can see, even in the wizard class, there's subclasses like lore master or green mage, which give you different perks, different skills that you could choose from. This level of character creation actually is far better than um, Baldur's Gate 3, in my opinion. The depth and the care they've put into um, what kind of options you have here is pretty fantastic. So what I really like about this is it's kind of previewing what you're going to see at level 2, right? When you're level 1, you're just a wizard, but you have these options of a lore master or green mage. Um, so I think I chose lore master in this one. And I like this a lot too. Equipment choices. You actually could go in here and you could change your starting equipment, which I really like. And it even dives into some really deep D&D tropes like the Scholars Packs and the Explorers Packs, um, which kind of show you the starting equipment you get, which actually does make a difference. This is the section I really liked. This is when you actually get to check your background. Like, are you a lawkeeper, a philosopher, a spy, a sellsword? I mean, this is a wizard, so I want to kind of go stereotypical and make myself uh, an academic. If you notice, I chose chaotic evil. My other characters kind of go on the neutral range, but this character I went full evil, and it kind of went really quick on there. But as you could see, you actually could choose statistics that really kind of set the mold to what kind of person you're going to be. A cynic, egoism, altruistic. Basically, these things tie directly into the conversation choices you're given. So when you enter into conversations, depending if you're a cynic or an egoist, they'll actually give you different options. So your really evil people will respond evilly, and your really nice people will say, "We have to defend them all." It's really cool stuff. And one of my favorite things when I'm doing any sort of role-playing game is generating my stats. Now, they give you an option here of dice rolls or point buy, where they give you a pool of points and you buy it. But I always like just click, 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 click. It brings me back to the old Baldur's Gate games. Um, so I'm just going to keep clicking through until I find a set of stats I like. Um, the nice thing about the system is it's actually not terribly hard to get a slightly demigod level character here. As you can see, I've rolled quite a few times, and um, in the older point and click CRPGs I used to do all the time, I used to actually click so fast that I would, see a couple of 18s and I'd be like, oh crap, I had a couple of 18s and I didn't choose it. So I'm trying to be a little bit more careful here as I'm clicking to make sure that if I do get that really solid roll, that I'll remember to keep it. But I mean, what I really like is um, how easy they make it to understand what's happening. So if you see below, you actually see you get your +2 to Dex, +1 to Intelligence. On the right, it's telling you, intelligence, constitution, and dexterity are pretty important. Constitution, obviously, because you're not very protected. Dexterity, because you don't wear armor. And intelligence, you're a wizard, of course, it's going to be intelligence. So I can't remember how many clicks I go through, but you'll see that there are quite a few clicks that happen before you get those really good stats. And I mean, as you can see, I really don't want anything below 10. Who wants anything below 10? I mean, sometimes you don't have a choice. When I play, look at this one, 18, 18, 16, 14, 14, 11. That's the one I picked. So 18 right to intelligence, 18 to dex. I have a 20 dex and a 19 intelligence. That's bonkers. 16 con, 14 charisma, 14 strength. That's a wizard if I've ever seen one. Holy moly. Anyway, so as I played through a Solasta, it's frankly amazing how good this character is. And then the next screen is you're going to choose your class skills, which is pretty cool. I'm an academic, so I kind of went into that that realm, you get to choose your languages, which is really neat. One thing I like about this is it's got the racial weapons, as you see. So even though I'm a wizard, um, I can still use racial weapons, which is kind of cool. And I'm trying to make it so I speak almost all the languages. And then you get to choose your cantrips and your spells, which is super cool. I do have an ancestry cantrip, which was pretty neat. That's the one I chose as Shadow Dagger. So I have a few cantrips here that are really tied to um, kind of my ancestry. So I got a bonus cantrip for that. Then I picked the other three. For people who haven't played a lot of D&D, cantrips are crazy cool in the 5.1 5 edition. Um, you can cast them at will anytime. There's no limit to how many cantrips you can cast. It's especially helpful at lower levels because there are a number of cantrips that do 1 die 8 damage or 1 die 6 damage, and because you can cast it at will, it's pretty cool. And then I have 6 spells. I think I start with 3 spell slots. You gotta have magic missile. Gotta have sleep for those low level dungeons. I mean, casting sleep saved my butt so many times. I chose identify, which is a bit of a waste because there's actually a ritual option in the 5th edition, where you could cast detect magic or identify as a ritual. So I kind of forgot that when I was creating this character. And I think I chose Identify, which is a little bit silly of me. But and then Burning Hands, I love Burning Hands. It's one of my favorite spells, especially low level. Now here's where the character creation falls apart. Unfortunately, I hoped for a lot more than this. There are only 3 faces to choose from, and these faces are very similar across the different races. So elf and half elf have very similar faces. And there's only 6 hairstyles, yeah, 6 hairstyles, and very few hair tones or skin tones and hair tones. And the hairstyles obviously are not great. They're perfectly serviceable. Don't get you wrong, they're perfectly serviceable. But this is where I find Solasta does fall apart in the character creation perspective. Everything up to this point, mind-blowingly good. Like I could create characters in this system for 10 hours and have a wonderful time. I would create all of my old role-playing characters and just have a blast. But unfortunately, when you get to this stage, it's very hard to make. And also, what you're not seeing here, there's only 3 voices, which is very limited. So there you have it. Wonderful character creator, tons of amazing options, super faithful to D&D. I really hope as they go through early access that Solasta adds a lot more customization options. Thanks for watching.